Start with the college football playoff rankings. So, were you surprised by anything you saw?
I don't think too much because we have I think we have five of these overall. The first one is just we obsess over it. We make a lot out of it, and I'm not sure it means very much, especially when you have a week like this where there are literally two playoff game eliminators in some respects, and I doubt your audience is overly concerned about Indiana or Penn State. I mean, I think the fact that Alabama LSU is an elimination game. I mean, I don't know how you can say it's not. Winner probably goes, still has to finish the season, and then you have the Georgia Ole Miss game, which wouldn't finish Georgia off, but it would finish Ole Miss off.
All right, well, let's talk about Alabama LSU. What did we learn from those games October 26th that might give us a good handle on what to expect this Saturday?
Well, I don't think for starters LSU will make the same mistakes. They were woefully unprepared for Marcel Reed, the number two A&M quarterback. And since he does a lot of the same things Jalen Milroe will do, I think that helps LSU. Unless Alabama's planning on a second quarterback, I think they'll be more prepared. Now the question is, no matter how prepared you are for Milroe, can you stop him? That's on one side, and the other side of it is Milroe? Is this the same Jalen Milroe that we saw 5 weeks ago? He doesn't look like it. I don't know. Maybe you do. Whether he's been hurt, whether something else is going on, whatever it is, he seems affected by it, and he needs to play at a high level for Alabama to win that game.
Yeah, it's really weird. I mean, the only thing DeBoer will say is that, this deep into the season, everybody's banged up. You've heard that
I've
line
heard that
before.
before, but when your quarterback is banged up and he's not doing what he's good at, it's a serious problem.
It really, really is. Um, how much access will Nick Saban get in Baton Rouge, Paul? I mean, after all, he's still on the Alabama payroll. Can he just walk into an LSU practice and watch what's going on?
Well, it's funny you bring that up. I interviewed Brian Kelly on Monday and asked him about Saban. And while he laughed about it, I got the impression Nick Saban is not going to be welcome in coaches' meetings. And by the way, Saban does that a lot when he's on campus. I mean, everybody lets him come in because he is Nick Saban. But I think there's a little bit of tentativeness about him. And by the way, I would let him in because the Nick Saban that I know and I think you know, Jeff, is not going to be calling Kalen DeBoer and saying, "Hey, by the way, I saw they got a spy on Milroe." On the board. That's just not the way he is. But this is a coach who once coached in Baton Rouge, so they know him well. They respect him. But I think the two of us will get as much access as Nick Saban.
The 11 and the 2:30 games are pretty intriguing. You got Florida at Texas, Florida, who we both think is a lame duck coach there. And then you have Ole Miss playing Georgia, who you have said Gator fans would like to see Lane Kiffin wearing the visor on the Florida sidelines one day.
Yeah, I mean, I say that because of this. I've been in Gainesville twice this year. I was in Jacksonville last week, and I'm not trying to act like I'm one of these pollsters. Not that, by the way, the pollsters know what they're talking about based on what we saw this week in the election. But I talk to fans, and especially the students, and they all want Lane Kiffin. And so but Lane Kiffin can't go to Florida, assuming there is a change, if he wins out, because he's going to be in the playoffs, and there's no way he's walking away. So there's so much intrigue in the 2:30 game because let's say Kiffin loses, which I think a lot of people expect him to lose, then they're out of the playoffs, and he then starts thinking about do I want to take the Florida job? And quite frankly, I believe he would take it.
Wow. Um, this is, this is an interesting game against Georgia because, to my knowledge, Lane hasn't really won a big game yet.
Lane Kiffin has not won what I would call a signature game. He beat LSU last year, but LSU already had, I think, two losses. He's had a couple of big wins, but nothing of the magnitude of this. He got destroyed by Georgia a year ago. We all know his record against Nick Saban. It was always his worst game of the year. He had a team last year that probably should have beat Saban year before as well. Couldn't do it. Always screw it up. So what I mean, I think after the Georgia game last year, Jeff, he went out and said, I think he said to himself, I can't win through the. I have to do more than I'm doing. So he went into the portal. You know exactly how NIL works. I have no idea, but he brought in some of the best players in the country, especially on the defensive side. And this is his moment. I mean, he shot his shot, and if he doesn't win with this group, it's not going to get any better. This is the best team he's had.
I can't let you get away without talking about Auburn. Hugh Freeze has really leaned on the recruiting classes. You know, he's got allegedly coming in, but if he continues to struggle to coach this group, I mean, will Auburn give him another year?
I believe Auburn will give him another year. I say that not because I'm inside that program, but I was down there a couple weeks ago. I talked to people who seemingly matter, and I realized that was a couple of losses ago. But I don't think it would serve the program just to make a dramatic move unless they had a plan. And I don't sense that they're looking to pay off another coach and bring in somebody unless that person would make a big difference. So I think what is keeping Hugh Freeze around is the future. Is that does he deliver the recruiting class? And on top of that, can he maintain most of the players that he has, the ones that matter? So that's his challenge. Am I impressed with his coaching? No. Is anybody happy with where Auburn is? No. Was Brian Harsin fired a year ago, 2 years ago? Of course. And I think only because Brian Harsin left after 2 years will Hugh Freeze get a third year.
You're the best, Paul. Appreciate you.
Always a pleasure, Jeff. Hope to see you soon.
Have a good day.
Thank you very much.
Bye.